Most of us meander through our daily lives completely unaware of the fascinating and horrible work that scientists are carrying out all around us. In most cases, ignorance truly is bliss. As tempting as it might be to deny the unpleasant reality that awaits us, the truth is always waiting. It can fall upon our heads at any moment and sever whatever fleeting sense of normalcy might have existed before. There's always hope for the future, until there isn't. Let's start by exploring how researchers plan to help sick people breathe through their anuses. The recent pandemic resulted in hospitals being overwhelmed with patients. A large number of these sick people were unable to breathe without assistance. Doctors used respirators to try and save the patients. Sometimes it worked, but in many cases it didn't. Researchers have been trying for some time to find a way to save lives when respirators are not available or are not working. Recent animal experiments might have shown that the gut is able to absorb oxygen. The scientists first experimented with mice. They placed the mice in low-oxygen environments. Some of the mice had tubes placed into their anuses that delivered oxygenated gas into the large intestine. The mice that received the anal infusion of oxygen survived an average of 50 minutes, while those that didn't died after 11 minutes. Next, they tried using a liquid named perfluorodecaline. It is a substance that can hold a high concentration of oxygen. Infusing this liquid into the anus of the mice also increased their survival rate. The researchers tried this approach on pigs as well. It worked for these creatures too, although the pigs that received an anal infusion only lasted about 20 minutes until they showed signs of oxygen deprivation. The good news is additional infusions fixed the problem. Although the hope is to use this method in sick humans one day, there is a potential problem. Researchers were able to achieve their best results when they thinned the gut lining of the animals before giving an anal infusion. When dealing with sick humans, this is something doctors wouldn't be able to do. More research is needed, but one day people who are struggling to breathe may be saved from asphyxiation by anal tubes. The researchers didn't seem to address what happens if they need to help a constipated patient breathe, and quite frankly, we didn't want to ask for more details. Whatever orifice you use to accomplish the task, breathing is important. That's why scientists are still trying to understand how a thunderstorm in Melbourne, Australia in 2016 caused thousands of asthma attacks. Thunderstorms are common all over the world, but asthma attacks that are caused by these storms are rare. The first event that was recorded happened in 1983. Since then, 22 instances have appeared in medical journals. In 2016, it was an extremely warm year. It was also dry because there hadn't been much rain recently. As a result, the pollen count was extremely high. Allergy sufferers were in complete misery. A thunderstorm arrived in the Melbourne area, but it didn't provide much in the way of rain. Mostly, it delivered exceedingly high winds. As the storm passed through, it also brought very high humidity. Thanks to the lack of rain, a lot of people remained outside as the storm passed overhead. The evening after the storm passed and the following day, hospitals saw a 672% increase in patients reporting breathing problems. There were 3,365 more cases during this time than doctors usually deal with. Most thunderstorms don't cause asthma attacks, which is why scientists have been trying to figure out how to predict when this might happen again. They still aren't certain, but it appears that if the pollen count is high and humidity is low, that is one indicator. Wind can help move the pollen around and break it into pieces that more easily move into airways. Scientists think lightning and static electricity also play a role in this process. The measure of success will be if they can predict the next event before it happens. The idea of gasping for each breath while slowly dying from asphyxiation isn't an experience anybody wants, but it may still be better than many alternatives. People sometimes die from radiation exposure, and it can be one of the most gruesome and horrific ways to go. Recent events at Chernobyl have raised concerns that this could happen again one day soon. The Chernobyl nuclear plant experienced a meltdown in 1986. It killed people and pets. It also ruined lives and displaced entire communities. Some of the radioactive materials created heat so intense that it melted into underground rooms beneath the reactors. Trying to move the material is too dangerous. So, scientists have instead chosen to monitor the situation from a distance. Recently, they have been detecting an increased number of neutrons from one of these underground rooms. This means that the radioactive materials are starting fission reactions again. This in turn produces more heat, more radiation, and makes the situation much more dangerous. Neil Hyatt, who is a nuclear chemist from the University of Sheffield in the UK, recently spoke to Science magazine about this event. He said the radioactive waste is smoldering right now, much like coals in a barbecue grill. But if the situation is left alone for too long, the reactions could reach a critical level. When that happens, the radioactive waste will explode. The good news is that the blast should be contained should it occur. Of course, if scientists have miscalculated, then it could be much more destructive. Do you know what's more fun than a barrel full of radioactive monkeys? That's right, it's time for a history quiz. Human societies have used a number of ways to execute criminals throughout history. Which execution method from the past was considered to be the most humane? Was it allowing elephants to stomp on the condemned? Perhaps being obliterated by a cannon was the best way to go? Or could it be that drowning was the most desirable? Take a few moments to consider your answer. The correct response is drowning. Both elephants and cannons were used to execute criminals, but in most of the world, the humane way to end a life was to submerge the victim in water. If you want to learn more about this troubling period of human history, please watch our episode Execution by Drowning. Venomous animals, for most of us anyway, are something to avoid. Snakes, spiders, and scorpions are the most common animals that produce the harmful substance. When they bite or sting a victim, the substance is injected. Sometimes it can kill. What if humans had the ability to become a member of this exclusive club? Thanks to DNA research, it may be possible. The genes that allow an animal to develop venom are, as it turns out, very flexible. Scientists have known for some time that the venom glands in many animals are modified salivary glands. What they didn't know is what processes were behind it. Researchers in Japan tried to answer this question by examining a brown pit viper that is considered an invasive species in Okinawa. They first learned how almost every gene for the creature worked. After that, they were then able to focus only on the genes related to venom. Ultimately, what the scientists discovered is that all the genes needed to make venom are present in a large part of the animal kingdom. For humans in particular, our salivary glands make proteins that digest other proteins. This also is very close to how venom works. In nature, venom usually develops as a method of defense or as a way of killing prey, so it is unlikely that people will naturally develop glands that produce venom unless they suddenly become unable to catch food or attract mates. Current technology is unable to use genetic manipulation to create these glands in humans, but it may not remain out of reach forever. One day, it could be possible to purposely create people who can kill with a bite. Thankfully, being killed by a venomous human isn't something you have to worry about today, but Many women have to worry about the unpleasant effects of menstruation every month. What if one of those side effects was blood pouring from the eyes? It really happened. About 2 months ago, a 25-year-old woman visited an emergency room for the second time. The reason is because she once again had bloody tears pouring out of both eyes. Blood tears are rare but do happen from time to time. Doctors refer to the condition as hemolacria. Usually it is caused by numerous other underlying conditions, but the woman with the bleeding eyes didn't have any of them. Doctors did notice that she usually experienced this problem when her period started. They decided that this patient was suffering from vicarious menstruation. This condition can cause bleeding from the nose, ears, lungs, nipples, intestines, skin, and even the eyes. The doctors aren't entirely sure what causes this to happen, but they think certain tissues are sensitive to hormonal changes. Thankfully, they were able to help the patient by prescribing contraceptives. She no longer cries tears of blood. The sight of blood is always alarming, and so is being hunted by large cats. A park in China is looking for several that escaped recently. Residents have been warned to stay indoors to keep from being attacked. On April 19, custodians were cleaning the leopard enclosure at Hangzhou Safari Park in eastern China. 3 of the cats escaped from their enclosure and ran away. The escape was not reported right away because the park wanted to make sure attendance wasn't impacted. Authorities found out the next day. On April 21, authorities found 1 leopard and shot it with a tranquilizer dart. On May 8, they caught the second animal. Its hind leg was injured. They have not been able to find the 3rd large cat. Hunters have tried various methods to capture it. A small fleet of drones was deployed to look for it. And they also deployed 100 chickens as bait. If the last leopard isn't found soon, then it may not survive long. It never learned to hunt and probably won't survive on its own. 5 individuals were arrested because of the escape and attempted cover-up. Science might be able to help us breathe easier, but it can't stop thunderstorms from trying to kill asthma sufferers. It can't stop nuclear reactions at Chernobyl, and it can't really explain why some women cry tears. But the good news is researchers never stop trying to uncover the secrets of the universe. With each new layer they peel from this onion we call reality, it becomes obvious that the sum of human knowledge is much less than we hoped. Researchers all over the world keep trying to win the race against our extinction, and we will keep letting you know what they're doing. If you learned something interesting from this episode, then please hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel. Sooner or later, we might make something else you like. You wouldn't want to miss it, would you? If you feel compelled to do more, then visit our Patreon page. The link is in the video description below. Thank you for watching Bad Things in History.